Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Burning Question. My name is Peter. I'm here today with Bernardo del Campo. He is the president and co-founder of ARTi. Thanks for having a conversation with us today. Really looking forward to learning a little bit more about your business. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and your project here at ARTi?
Great. Peter, thank you for the invitation. I'm Berni del Campo. I'm a co-founder and president of ARTi. ARTi stands for Advanced Renewable Technology International. And we do a lot of things here. We manufacture equipment to produce biochar, and not just the pyrolysis reactor, but everything else. We provide turnkey solutions for the clients. So everything that goes around the biochar reactor, handling and grinding and everything else. We also do consultation and engineering. So, for example, we get clients that ask us to do renewable energy or energy efficiency, and most of them are related to biochar, or on the systems, how we can integrate a boiler and some other things. So the engineering and consulting also is pretty strong in our company. We also sell biochar products, and we have a few that we sell online, and then we make other biochar products for specific clients that we manufacture here, and then we ship it to our clients. So we do a little bit of everything, to be honest, Peter. But yeah. That's in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Great. And where did ARTi come from? You had mentioned that you were at Iowa State. Can you just tell us about founding? How long have you guys been around, and how's the company changed?
So the company started in 2013. We got a grant to go to Nicaragua, and we did a biochar project there. We are grad students from Iowa State. Most of us, we work in the same laboratory, making bio-oil and making biochar, thermochemical conversion lab. And from then on, we decided to do something, because the technology and the product is so beautiful, but there's nothing really, well, there are some technologies out there, but nothing that really impressed me. So we decided to move on, get it from the lab, from our expertise, and try to make industrial equipment that we can reliably and simply and effectively make the I wouldn't call good biochar, but the biochar that you want. Because again, biochar is a whole array of different products that you can make.
Yeah.
So from that lab we started, and then we got a colleague of us, and we started doing some reactors and trials in a farm. And every weekend we'll go there and put some things together. And from our knowledge from the laboratory and the sensors and automation, we start putting things together. In the manufacturing, we didn't have much idea, to be honest, but it was a journey. But then we start getting better and better. And then now we're in a manufacturing place that we manufacture the reactor as we go. We do R&D on those reactors, we change them. So now we're in a much better position than we were 7 years ago. And another thing, just let me bring up, which is pretty funny. Actually, ARTi was the name of the dog of the farmer that we used to get together, and his name was with Y at the end. So we couldn't actually make an acronym that would make sense out of it. So we just changed it to an I, and then we came up with ideas on what that ARTi would mean, it would stand for. And that was it, Advanced Renewable Technology International. And the international part is very strong in us because we work with people all over the world. Our products are all over the world. And our engineers and everything, they're from all over the world. And so we're very international in that sense. So yeah, that was the
But where are you based now? And kind of like, what's your scope? Do you try to do local work, or it's mostly international work?
So it's mostly international. We have some clients in the US. Let me step back a little bit. We are here in Prairie City, Iowa, which is roughly 20 minutes away from Des Moines, Iowa, which is the capital. So our first clients, they were all international. This year, we started getting a lot more American clients. And we sold 6 months ago, a little bit more, 10 months ago, we sold a reactor to some clients in the United States, but most of our machines are abroad.
Okay.
And yeah, we always have here a reactor, and we do services for clients, but that clients in the US. But our manufacturing has been mostly international. Our engineering and consultation has been both And obviously the biochar sales is everything here in the US.
Yeah, and if you're watching the video, you can see that it looks like your hands are covered in biochar. Is that right?
I was just dealing with a machine, and we needed to do some things, and the startup didn't work. We had some issues, so we have to troubleshoot to get it going, and we have a project to finish. So that's why we're not in such a rush.
Right, it's not an abstract concept to you. That's awesome. So if you kind of think about how your business has come so far, it sounds like you do manufacturing, you do design consulting, and you sell biochar. Can you break out how your business breaks down in those categories, or add another category if I've missed
it? So let me see if I understood. But I'm assuming that you asked me how much of percentage of our revenue or our activities goes into those three categories.
Right.
I would think that 40% is approximately the manufacturing side, reactors, dryers, biochar milk. The other 40% goes into the consultation. Like, every reactor, you assess the site, you work with the clients, you make products for them, you do energy efficiency, and you do the integration of those parameters. So those would be 40% roughly, and roughly 20% biochar sales. And we sell biochar, we sell activated carbon materials, and we sell carbon black replacements.
Oh, cool.
And in the biochar world, the carbon black replacement is an industrial product that is used in plastics, tires, and things like that. So we have a couple of clients that are doing things like that. In the toner and pigments, we do something for them and such. On the biochar world, however, we sell biochar by itself as is, and then we sell biochar that we inoculated, we put nutrients, and it's 100% biochar, but it's ready to use, because biochar, after it comes from the reactor, you need to make sure that it's, people call it activated. I don't like to call it activated. I would say inoculated, ready to be used, because we use the activated word for industrial process to make into the activated carbon.
Right, which is a different product, right?
It is a different product. We do something like that, we call activated biochar, but yes, it goes through another industrial process.
Right.
So, and I lost my train of, and then we do other biochar products with worm casting, another that we are very excited. There is a ground biochar with nutrients for liquid application, irrigation products, and then we do compost and biochar, and soil and biochar. We have some clients that are doing like that. So from the biochar world, we do a lot of other things.
Yeah. So given that you it seems like you do almost the full scope of what of the actually thinking about making and selling biochar. What's the mission of the company, and where are you kind of focused on over the course of the next few years?
So what we want to see is a lot more biochar being used. And how we're trying to do it is by manufacturing ourselves and selling and making biochar products, because as I mentioned before, it's not just some biochar, it has to be a biochar ready to use for that specific situation. And that's where the R&D and the know-how plays. And the other thing is all those clients that want to step up and develop biochar systems, we assist them from the very beginning. So we sell them equipment, we do all the commissioning, everything. We run the reactor for them. So we do that too. So what is our vision is see this biochar industry in the next level. That's what we're trying to do. So we're educating ourselves, we're making different products, we're improving the material for different characteristics, we're improving the machines so we can make it a larger scale, cheaper and better. And so we're doing a little bit of everything, but there's always a new project, there's always a new idea, and here we can develop those very quickly. Cool. So would that respond to your question?
Yeah, definitely. So run us through a little of the basics on a couple on the biochar side and also on the equipment side. How much biochar do you make? Roughly, how much do you sell it for? How many machines do you make, say, over a year? And roughly how much?
Yep. So let me see. On the biochar, we don't make much biochar. We just make it for specific clients when they ask us, and our sales online. So we have burlap bags, super sacks. Let me see. In the last month, we made we're making right now 20 cubic yards for a client. We made 10 cubic yards for another client, 6 cubic yards for another client. We just sold yesterday 2 cubic yards to Chicago. It's not much. It will be a couple of tons a week, honestly, and we run it whenever we have an order. And every client is a little different, and we need to know all those things. So it's not much, and that's why we wanted to develop it and keep growing, because the potential is huge. But we need to make it cheaper. We need to make it better, and we need to let people know about this. So that's something that we need the public. We need you to publish this and get more clients. This is amazing. This is an amendment that you put in once, right? And you're sequestering carbon, and you're doing all these benefits in the soil. But yes, it's more expensive than compost. Absolutely, it's gonna be. So, and it's not the same, obviously. But when you're talking about soil products, they're all cheap, And we do something that is not cheap. It's good, and for that, there's a lot of work involved. So, on that side, we want to develop that, but it's going to be a slow process, and we know that the online sales they picked up, but not a lot more. I mean, it's slowly growing. And again, what we're trying to promote more is biochar products that the biochar is in it, and they're ready to use. So anyway, in general, it's not selling biochar 100%. It's selling products that have biochar.
So you think about it like a value-added products kind of category, as opposed to raw or just the absolute pure biochar.
Absolutely. And the absolute pure biochar, again, I sell them to those clients of mine that they know what they're doing with it. Otherwise, we sell biochar as is online, but when someone doesn't know and asks me, we sell them a biochar product that is ready to use, with nutrients, with microbes, with the right formulation for his soil and his plants. There's a lot of know-how that we can implement for each of them.
And so it sounds like mostly you sell biochar plus blank products, but what kind of range do you see when you do sell it raw on say a per ton or a cubic yard basis?
Perfect. So the pricing, it depends on the feedstock that we use, on how we process it. Higher temperatures biochar, for example, that we do for several applications, the yield is a lot less, and it takes more time to process. So we charge them higher. But I would say in a larger scale, we will sell biochar anywhere from $250 to $500 a cubic yard. Depends on the volumes and on the materials that we're using and the specifications that the client requires. Generally. And that's per cubic yard. We generally use cubic yard by volume, because one of the methods is adding water to cool it down, and then the weight doubles or triples. But in general, we use that. For when we do the grinding and liquid products, then we sell it by the weight, and those ones are a lot heavier. They're dry materials. We add water, but they're dry materials, and again, then the volume is just reduced to a third of it, because you grind it really fine. So just for you to know.
Interesting. And then switching gears into the machinery side of things, it sounds like you sell all over the world. How many do you sell, say, on a yearly basis, roughly? And what's the cost?
We sell one or two a year, and we have sold, licensed, and manufactured. So some of them we just license it to people. And we have in total, between the bigger ones and the smaller one, 12 units around the world. And let me see, what are the questions? Oh, the price.
Roughly how much they cost?
Depends. Okay, so the most simple equipment that we make is, I would say, $200,000, and from then on, and then you can add a lot more things, because like I was telling you, some clients will only want the reactor, some others would like the dryer, would like the grinder. That reactor is going to be for a high temperature application, some others not. Some others would require certain throughput or particle size, and then things will change. But just to give you an idea, it's more than 200,000 anything that we do.
Right. And then kind of what's the scale? I mean, are these, producing a ton of biochar a day, or is it 10 tons a day? Yep. What size?
So again, you have.
I know that it varies a lot.
It's hard to explain, but we generally refer as pyrolysis strains, and those pyrolysis strains, they can change, in size and something. But the general one, I would say the cookie cut one, that one is 8 tons, 10 tons of wet material per day, which with the dryer and such, you will remove 2 tons out of it, roughly. And then we'll go 8 tons of material going into the reactor, which should be dry or fairly dry. And then you will produce 2, maybe 3, depends of the material, tons of biochar per day. And that is on a 24/7 operation. And those are kind of the ideal conditions, because we have other materials that they're too dense, or they're larger particles, or we need to slow it down for any reason, or they want really high temperatures, and then we need to slow them down. So that will be the ideal situation.
Great. And then I assume these are continuous process, kind of auger or something based systems. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
24/7, correct.
And then the outputs, I assume, are biochar. Do you guys also do electricity generation or process heat integrations?
Yes, process heat integration for sure. The electricity generation, we don't do it, but we get modules that you can include into the equipment.
Got it. Cool.
So we will do the integration to those modules. Correct. And again, making electricity is not simple. With these systems that we integrate, they are simple and they're expensive. So then all those things adds up quite a bit.
Right.
There you go.
So just thinking about how your equipment compares versus there are a lot of different people that are making different pyrolysis equipment, a lot of different styles doing it, from digging a hole in your backyard to retorts to continuous process systems to taking them off of taking biochar off of industrial scale like biomass facilities, etc. But within your category, right? Well, how are your machines different, or what is it you're focused on that distinguishes you guys from people that are otherwise out there?
Excellent. So what we have been trying to do with our technology is to make the manufacturing, and the production of biochar simple.
Yeah.
So our equipment are simple. They break down, absolutely, and you have to be able to put it up and running in 1 day. We use standard equipment, so we can take this to Africa, and they would be able to put it up and running, with their materials that they have there. It's inexpensive in terms of production and how much you produce for the capital cost. And the other thing that I believe we're pretty good at is we're very, very efficient in terms of heat and electricity. Heat, we start the reactor in less than an hour. Depends on the materials, but in less than an hour. We get it up to temperature. Once you get it up to temperature, you turn the propane off. We use 20-pound propane tanks to start the reactor. So we start the reactor, I would say, 2 or 3 times with 1 propane tank. With 2 propane tanks. So it's roughly 1 propane tank will give you 2 turn it on twice. Again, it's very simple. You just go to your cases, get a propane tank and start. Electricity, we make it simple. We can install this next to a house and we're able to run it. We run it with generators if we want. We have been running with generators with some clients. So we're trying to make it very simple. The automation gets a little bit more tricky, but simple enough that anyone can make biochar if they want, and we assist them in the whole system. But it's efficient, it's inexpensive, and it's large production. How we get larger production is we put different modules in parallel, so we make them independent. You run 2 or 3 at a time, and one is down for any reason, or you're running 1 material in this one. So that's how we scale it up. So we can scale it up quite a bit. But again, with these units, put it in parallel. In another thing that I forgot to mention, we ship this in shipping containers. So they're movable. You go in 8 hours, you should be able to put some equipment in that sticks out of the shipping container, put it in a truck and move it to another place. And in less than 8 hours, you bring it down, you assemble it, and you're running. Pretty much in 1 day, you take it from some place, in another day, you have it running.
Wow, so you could actually, you could actually, I mean, it's not mobile in the sense that you can't drive it around, but is the idea here that you could bring it out to a place where it's going to be for a month or 2 and then bring it somewhere else where it's going to be for another month?
Absolutely. Yes, and if we were to make it completely mobile, we can.
Yeah.
But you know, there's no incentive. In general, you have a satellite area where you have the biomass, and then you need to run there for a couple of months. So, you know, otherwise we can put it on top of a trailer and just make it entirely movable.
Right.
You know?
Fascinating. Okay.
There's not.
That's super cool.
Oh, and another thing is, because we have the shipping containers, the only thing that we need is a place to run the equipment. And one person or less should be able to run absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring it down. We recommend have concrete pad, and then the electricity, but we can put a generator. The propane, again, you can have installation of propane. You can have a propane tank, run it, and you're done. And you're making char right there.
Fascinating. That's cool. So who do you see? You know, it sounds compelling. It sounds like a lot of fun. Who's buying your machines now? What are the kind of business models that you see around those things?
Perfect. Making biochar is not simple. We're trying to make it as simple as we can. So I've been approached by several companies on the recyclers and waste disposals. So those ones, great, because they have a problem and they save some money from that. The numbers are right there. No, it depends. If you make a good product and you sell and you can make a lot of money. But coming in just from the waste disposal is is not much money. Whereas the money is in making advanced products. You know, like people that are doing carbon black replacement. I have some samples, but we make this char and then we finely grind the char, and then they use it in plastics, in rubbers, in tires. All those things are very expensive. The activated carbon, the same thing. We get, for activated carbon, you carbonize and then you activate it. Even if you do the first part and then you have the second part afterwards done, that is a very expensive product. Mm-hmm. On the biochar, for sure, that's not a very expensive product in general. But if you're getting to the added value products, like what we're referring before with the liquid char, mm-hmm. If you want me, I can show you.
Yeah, go get it. Yeah.
And I actually am on my phone. So let me see what samples we have. Got this one. Oh, I'll show you some biochars. I actually have samples. All my wall on the side is just, I'll show you quickly.
I want us to be able to zoom out and just see all of your desk. Oh my gosh, what?
That is some of the projects that we have been involved with. And those are different products and samples. And here I got some, I got a station there.
Oh, so no, good.
We have
so cool.
We have the 3D printed of our reactor there. We got a lot of stuff. And I was going to show you those advanced products. Look at this. These are plastics from our material. These two are, I think it's polypropylene with our carbon. And
made from the carbon?
Made from our carbon, yeah. All from our products.
Cool.
And talking about advanced products, this is bio oil. Let's not jump into that, but you can make
it's a different conversation, I think.
Exactly. And honestly, don't get distracted. Let's make char, and this is the liquid char that I was telling you. It's just a very fine particles that is suspended in water. And then we load it with nutrients and microbes. And that for us is the way that we need to revolutionize the industry, is with those advanced products.
So interesting. So the people that are buying your equipment generally using it for, what are they using it for? Are they using it for advanced stuff?
R&D.
Using it for
R&D. Yep. R&D. They make their own products, and for example, validating the whole system, the economics, the feedstock, the properties of the carbon. When you're making plastics, you see this is your phone. The black stuff is all carbon black that it has, and the rubbers, they make it strong. The ink in the printer, the laser one is carbon black. The black one, you see, make it strong. Well, so we go through years of R&D just to make sure that rubber or that foam has the properties that they require. Mm-hmm. Not years, but 1 or 2 years, for example. Mm-hmm. And then they got to make sure that the economics make sense, and then make sure that they're ready to scale up. Nowadays, what we do, we get this that is very cheap, and you're trying to compete with this, which there's a lot of processing between. So there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of expenses, there's a lot of R&D and engineering, and we're trying to ease that pain to our clients. And we do a lot of stuff here. We got a lab here in our place, and we do a lot of that. So
interesting. So is that kind of like, when you look into the future, what do you think will happen to ARTi? Are you guys going to grow as a provider of specialized pyrolysis machinery to people that are doing advanced products? Is that kind of where you want to go?
What I want to go is kind of the opposite, but we need to go through this route in order to develop more our technology.
Okay.
So now these guys are paying, but I want to be the soil people that in general, you say, well, it's 2 tons a day, but 2 tons a day is not much in terms of industrial
exactly. Yeah.
quantities.
Yep.
So we need reactors that they produce 10, 20 tons a day. And then you will see more and more in the soil. And to make 10, 20 tons a day, you cannot spend, all this money in labor. And no, it has to be even simpler and easier. But you need to know what you're doing with the biochar. Mm-hmm. Not every biochar is set for all those specifications, for all those conditions. Mm-hmm. So we make our machines so we can tune a lot of things. So where we going is, hey, let's make this and this product that are very advanced. Let's keep developing the technology. Let's make it a larger scale. Let's make it more inexpensive, more simple to operate, and more automated. Tomorrow we'll have this soil, a person will come and say, I want to include this into my compost, and I need, 50 tons a day. Great, and we have the equipment and everything ready for that.
Right.
But in general, the prices of one application, the other one makes that the technologies are different monies,
Right.
So,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But we're ready for them. We are into the scale that we can supply very inexpensive carbon for all those applications for soil and make advanced products like this. This is fantastic, and this for sure there's some market.
Right.
But again, people don't know biochar. Now you need to explain what is a liquid biochar.
Right.
So you see, it's a complete new product. I mean, it's fantastic, but it's not so simple integration in the market. But we're working on that.
So I think there's probably stuff. Yeah.
Another thing that I forgot, and what I would like to do is start leasing equipment like this for clients, and we operate it through the internet. We make the product that they need to do, so we apply our know-how on those processes, and then have our reactor with us. Because again, it's simple, but it's not so simple. And there's a huge curve of learning and understanding that when you sell an equipment, they don't know even what is biochar, and then you start making this product. So if we lease that and we have the capital to have equipment that we can lease, I think that could be a huge impact into the industry, because we need this kind of machine out there. Mm-hmm. But some people don't have the time, the money, but for leasing, there could be a niche market for that, or more than a niche market. And then people will see this product more and more.
Yeah, I think that, capital, the capex of some of these upfront costs for buying a pyrolysis machine is definitely, from the farmers and the people in the ag community, it's too much. So, but it's just figuring out how to get all the way from where you are now. It's kind of like lower volume, higher margin products, all the way up to higher margin, higher volume, lower margin products, like field application, which is, of course, where I kind of want to see it go, because I'm thinking about it from carbon sequestration perspective, and a ton a day is nice, but that's not going to be the difference between really hot climates and in a normal world.
And Peter, how much the carbon sequestration people are paying for this carbon?
Right.
I mean, I would say $20 a ton, or $20 a ton. It's a lot. Careful, 1 ton of biochar is roughly, depends, but it's roughly 3 tons of CO2. Yeah. So now you're talking about $60 a ton. So yes, it's a decent, careful, in my process, and I get these $60 and we certify that it's, that goes to soil and it's not burnt or something, and then it's sequestered. That is a nice amount of money, but putting a business model based on this $20 a ton, it's, I don't know, it's tricky. Right. We need more than that to make the system work.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, so I don't want to go on too long here. So I want to, one, thank you for your time. And two, do you have any other little bits or pieces, things you want to plug, people you'd like to contact you if they come across this video? Any other things before we wrap?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, if you're interested, feel free to visit our website, arti.com, and then you send us an email. That will be terrific. And yeah, anyone interested, just reach us, and then we'll see what we can do. For sure, what we need you and everyone else to do is spread the word, because this is great. This is fantastic product, and we need to scale it up. And it's the chicken or the egg. We need people to start buying our biochar, give us some capital to keep developing this concept, keep developing these products, so we can make it cheaper and better, and then see this biochar in every soil product that we see in the future. Now we're applying fertilizer. Great, it's not bad, but if we can apply that fertilizer with that carbon, then we're going to retain, we're going to have a lot less losses if you do it right, right? And all sorts of other benefits in the soil. But there's a huge gap in knowledge and everything, from the applications to the farmers to the testing. But we need those adventure people to start buying and promoting this. And your buying power is your boat. And when you start buying things like this and moving the industry forward, we'll see a much more robust industry and a much better. So we need a lot more voices out, Peter.
Right. Well, I couldn't agree more with that, obviously. And thanks so much for coming on our show. I'll be posting this along with the links to your website and all that. So really appreciate the time, and good luck. And maybe next time we can talk bio oil, but and see some of the stuff in your shop.
Absolutely.
All right.
Excellent.
Take care.
Thank you for the invitation. Have a good one.
Yep.